And we're live! Hello and welcome to episode 223 of HEX Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie Allen, and I've got a great show for you tonight. What are we cooking? Well, tonight we're going to be talking about how I communicated with Twitter about RH's account and got some really good news. So this is on the heels of a lot of really good news that's been happening, a momentum that's been gaining in HEX and Pulse Chain ever since the SEC case was won in court, not due to political favor, but in fact a cold hard victory for freedom and truth and all the Hexicans that have been suffering for 2 years and more. So really excited about the momentum. And then, of course, we had Uniswap relist HEX also in the past week. And so this is a third piece of really good news that there might be a way to double the amount of organic impressions that Richard can get on Twitter, as have many of the past HEX and Pulse Chain conference speakers due to this hack. But today I'm going to explain to you exactly what was said to the premium verified support on Twitter and what they said back, and we'll go over this breaking news. So if you're here, why not make some noise? That's the magic word now on Twitter. You can't say, please repost or share this, because maybe the reach won't, maybe the algorithm and the spaghetti code doesn't like that as much. But if you say make some noise, I guess my most liked tweet of all time happened yesterday. So we're really on a roll here. So hey, you're in the right place. We're gonna do a quick and high signal episode of HEX Therapy Live here. Hit the like and share. You're in the right place.
It's from Maddie Allen of HEX Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie Allen's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff, like, as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.
Now, I could teach you how to make the perfect steak, but we've got something a little bit more important to go over. What does my shirt say here? My mom thinks I work at Bitcoin. Hey, that's a fact. So let me share my screen here, and we will dive into the details. All right. So this is a breaking tweet that just came out a few moments ago, 34 minutes ago. Already 151 likes. Wow. People are loving it. So the tweet, what does it say? Breaking today, X premium support confirms Richard Hartwin's account is unrestricted and eligible for a badge boost. X writes in their terms of service, a badge will organically double your impressions. This is big. It's taken 13 months to get an adequate response. After all of the Pulse Chain conference badges got yanked when RH added his a year ago. The green light comes, by the way, somebody, well, I don't know if they meant to compliment me, but yesterday somebody accused me of writing my tweets in ChatGPT, and I was like, actually, no, I'm a good writer and I am inspired these days. So if this sounds written by an AI, well, that's how good your boy is. So, all right, where am I at? The green light comes as the verified orgs program has matured, right? A year ago, 13 months ago, the program was pretty brand new. The verified orgs program has matured. with the presumably now fixed bug, possibly relating to RH's account's legacy blue checkmark status, having interacted with the old or new Twitter spaghetti code. I'll go over a second hypothesis here in a moment. X has been working to remove abnormal parameters from the evil-woke era of Twitter since Elon Musk bought the platform 2 years ago. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. No AI required. Cool. Santi, not Santa Claus, but an ex-employee named Santi, confirmed, see screenshot below, RH's account does not have any label attached and is running with normal parameters, end quote, in a written statement to Maddie Allen. So that's good news whether RH wants to do the badge thing or not, okay? Whether he wants the organic 2x boost, the beautiful Pulse Chain Conference logo next to his name, and that sort of thing. Like, this is good news whether he accepts the delegation or not, basically. Because now we have somebody on the inside of Twitter that took the time after I explained the issue over and over and over again for 13 months. We have somebody who has finally gone in and looked at Richard's account and confirmed that there is no woke evil agenda label attached to him, and his account is running within normal parameters. The written statement continued, "You may proceed with adding them." End quote. Richard had previously posted his rationale in, quote, accepting the delegation, end quote, also aligned with his penchant for preventing imposters everywhere, right? That's always a thing in crypto. We have to look out for each other. Indeed, the Verified Orgs program is now better than they were last year at preventing badge abuse too. So I have screenshots of 13 months ago, and Richard has the Pulse Chain badge, and then an imposter is below him with a gold check mark. And I believe Richard stopped even having a blue check mark for a while, like voluntarily, in order to differentiate himself from the scammers. But we don't see those scammers anymore. I mean, his comments are turned off. That might be part of it. It might go beyond like the SEC thing, but him just addressing getting rid of the scammers, because he is probably the person in crypto who cares the most and has worked the most to to save you from scammers and middlemen and every other danger. Okay, so the Verified Orgs program is now better than they were last year at preventing badge abuse. Like, for example, I changed my name too many times, and they like prevented me from changing it again. And so they're keeping a closer eye on it because it's an expensive program and they want to make it worth your while. And that's you get kind of a two-pronged benefit here. You get for having a verified organization badge, you get 2x boost in organic impressions, and you get kind of like imposter protection and verified support. The thing about the 2x organic boost that's like so incredible is the fact that even when you pay for advertising on X, it's mostly only going to users who don't pay to subscribe. And so those are not going to be those posts. I mean, they don't get organic likes, like they don't show up in the normal timeline. They're only going to users that have less value typically, right? Twitter is the #1 place for information for the financial world, the crypto world, the tech world, and the political world. And so anybody who's a mover and a shaker in those areas is going to have a blue check mark and is not going to be subjected to ads hardly at all. compared to a user who doesn't even pay to use the platform. They could be a bot, so on and so forth. So the verified orgs program is like, it's magic. It's a unique like glitch in the matrix in your favor that shows your reply before other people's replies. It shows your post more, and it's Twitter wouldn't say it in writing in their terms of service, I don't think, if it wasn't true. If they hadn't hard coded it into the into the spaghetti code, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not so spaghetti anymore. But hey, so what a good deal in terms of in terms of being able to boost people who are already having an excellent reach. And I must say, since I added Sami, like, I know that the timing was at the same time as the SEC, but since adding him, it really seems like people are smashing the like button and his engagement is up. Even before the SEC, good news that we got, Fast Abdul had witnessed in his analytics a 2x. And so I think this is the real thing. This is, it's something that you can almost can't even pay for in any other way other than by having a verified organization. And I think having the Pulse Chain Conference organization makes a lot of sense, just from the truth of our organic community. If RH was to spin up his own organization, that might change the calculus on some things. And in this case, it already looked like a go-ahead 13 months ago, and then something got in the way. And so if it wasn't, now that Santi at HEX Premium Verified Support has confirmed that there is no label today on Richard Hart's account, praise the Lord, and the parameters are normal, well, what's the only other thing that could have gone wrong last time that we know of? Okay, so Maddie reckons it's also possible that the previous verified org bug, when Richard joined, the whole program got rugged. Maybe that didn't have anything at all to do with adding Richard. On the same day in February 2024, a woman was given a badge who had manually retweeted 55,555 times over the years. This devoted Hexagon and cancer survivor may have been the unusual parameter that flagged the whole program, simply coinciding with adding RH. That seems pretty clear. Adding RH now seems less risky because X support has explicitly stepped up to address the issue and will likely intervene if anything else goes wrong. And, nobody else needs to get added at this moment, so we can, be sure of ourselves. Okay. Hex and Pulse Chain have been censored and gatekept to different extents on social media since their inception over 5 years ago, with a fresh victory over the SEC and a Uniswap relisting, both occurring within the past week. And now this, it appears our luck has changed. That said, persistence pays off too. At the time of this post, Maddie has opened a fresh invitation for RH to reaccept his badge via X notifications or email or presumably delegation. Make some noise if you love more good news and want the founder of Pulse Chain to get the greater reach he deserves. So I'll read word for word what Santi, also known as Santi Claus, the giver of great gifts on Twitter, like finding out that the founder doesn't have any spaghetti code, evil, woke labels on his account. He says, "Hello. Upon review, we can confirm that at Richard Hartwin does not have any label attached to their account and that the account is running within normal parameters. You may proceed with adding them as an affiliate. Please let me know if there's anything else I can assist you with. That was March 5th. So they had given me, boilerplate responses before, and then finally, after all this time, we luck out with what seems to be a real review of somebody who is actually acknowledging that they understand the issue. So here's a screenshot of back in February 2024 when Richard did have the famous Pulse Chain Conference logo for about 20 minutes. And here's a post that he had written at the time. In order to help prevent imposters, this account has accepted a delegation from Pulse Chain Conf, which should add a Pulse Chain icon, which should reduce imposters. Apparently, any speakers at the last 6 conferences are eligible. Thanks, Maddie Allen. And then writes 2 hours later, apparently it's under review and took the blue check too, so now we wait. And then he explains, HEX Inc., PLS, and PLSX are all on Pulse Chain. And you can only have one extra logo, so PLS is the most encompassing. HEX does have the best logo ever, though, smiley face. Thus, Pulse Chain was the choice. And of course, now, am I not sharing the screen? Yeah, I am. We can't see it. I am sharing my screen. Huh. StreamYard did have an update today. So if you guys really can't see my screen, then that's kind of weird. Oh, good now, not before. Got it. Sweet. Thanks for letting me know, chat. Right. So I'm not sure what I was saying then, but yeah, but there you go. This is really exciting news. So who knows? Maybe Richard will, take the risk now that the risk is lowered. Maybe he'll keep rocking, with no comments, because maybe that addresses the imposter issue better. Maybe he doesn't care about getting a 2x boost. But even if it's only for the imposter protection, X is doing a much better job of that now. And so having a badge does make a difference. And, it's something that he had accepted in the past, so maybe he'll accept it in the future. Every once in a while, when I add somebody, I have to resend the thing, but normally it goes to the Twitter notifications. If it doesn't get buried, it goes to the email, and it I'm pretty sure it works through delegation as well. So what great news is that? What do you think, guys? Pretty awesome, huh? So go ahead and I'll drop the link to this tweet, but when you guys have been sharing this stuff, it's reaching a larger audience than we've ever reached before. The engagement of Hexicans on Twitter now is greater than it's ever been. The post that I made yesterday about Coinbase and some, I don't know if you would call it leaked information, but some really encouraging reading between the lines information about how you would access your coins if they do support the entire Pulse Chain network. And this came from somebody 3 levels up in the support, system of Coinbase. So I imagine that is a manager, a senior, level manager of support. And they're speaking directly to the Sense Foundation, who is able to put pressure on them through different means in order to try to get a listing for their giant PDI donation of 300 million PDI, for Pulse Chain in general, for any of the RH tickers. They owe us one after Pulse Chain raising $27.5 million for them. And they have the incentive now of the PDI. which is a multi-million dollar situation. So that's why I'm pushing for it now. Like you guys know I work with these longevity organizations. I have for years now, I guess. And so yeah, now's the time. We won the SEC. We've got this momentum. You guys are so active on Twitter that it's the rest of crypto is seeing this, okay? When here, I'll show you this. So when this post says that it has 37,000 impressions, yo, that's because of you guys hitting the retweet and the like button, okay? That's how this game works. And like 1,000, more than 1,000 extra hexagons, triple the number of people are stepping up right now. And I thought that this momentum would have already died down in 2 days or 3 days, but here we are, and we're 6 days into this SEC good news, and we're 4 days removed from the Uniswap good news, and people are still fired up. People are still taking action. And when 3 times as many people, when 2 out of 3 of you who didn't used to hit the like and the share button, now you're doing that, we're reaching thousands of more people on the world's most influential financial network. Hexagons and Pulsicans, we are winning the game at crypto Twitter, okay? And everybody sees it. And whether the 2 out of 3 people who aren't normally liking these posts, whether they're new people or old people, either way, we've built some great momentum here, and now it's time to keep it up. When Uniswap relisted HEX, I'm told that it was because Dipcatcher and possibly others had filled out some paperwork, and because of RH's amazing legal team winning the case. So that should inspire you as much as it inspires me. The thousands and thousands of people who are out here, we're not just waiting for somebody else to come along and pump our bags. Like, we're willing to do it ourselves. We're willing to go fill out forms. And my tweet from the day before last, where I've told you guys, Pulse Chain is filled with unsung heroes. Tonight, Frank White, who I guess I had him blocked on Twitter, but now I've unblocked him and followed him. He's the person who got CoinGecko to remove the SEC warning label from HEX. Okay, it's these little things that are going to add up when we have 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people all making noise that we want a Kraken listing, we want a Coinbase listing, we want a Binance listing, to say we want to show up correctly on CoinMarketCap, to say we want to be invited to the White House. Okay? It doesn't happen magically. It doesn't happen passively. We are doing something special to overcome a problem in economics called the tragedy of the commons. And I am so proud. And last week, before we had the SEC win, that was what my stream was about on Hex Therapy Live, episode 222. I was bragging and praising this community because I'm so proud of who we are, who we've become, and how we keep self-improving. And so I hope that you are feeling as inspired, or can feel as inspired as I am, because when I get on Twitter now, we have leveled up. I'm searching for stuff to like because I want the algorithm to boost it to more people. And another thing that you can look at that's going to be really telling for me, as somebody who's a geek who has been studying this social algorithm and the social psychology of crypto for years now, take a look, if you really want to geek out, at like the ratio here of likes to views. And that's going to tell you something really important, because normally good news is going to get in between a 2% and a 5% like to view ratio. Okay? This is you've now entered a master class in like understanding the entire psychology of crypto Twitter is compare the ratio of likes to views, okay? And what you'll find, and that ratio evolves over the decay of the post. So like the post gets shown to people for about a day, for maybe a day to a day and a half, and in the first 6 hours, you might find something different than you find in the last 6 hours of that period, in terms of it eventually gets pushed out to people who aren't checking as often and maybe aren't with it as much. But this ratio is like 2 to 4x higher than what you normally see. The news that there's unsung heroes in Pulse Chain and that CoinGecko removed the SEC warning label on March 5th had it had 1,100 likes. My account would normally get 100 to 200 likes on good news. It's getting 10x the likes on this post, and the ratio is 2 to 4x higher of likes to views. So there's only 12K views on this post, and it's got 1.1K likes. So that is almost a 10% ratio of likes to views. That's nuts. Okay, that's one of the highest ratios I've ever seen. And you can go look at the other posts that go kind of like semi-viral within our community and start to reach the greater crypto Twitter, Crypto Coffee, Hexologist, KDP, and others. A lot of people who have badges that you can find by just clicking on the Pulse Chain Conference badge and then clicking on affiliates, and you can see all those people who have funded themselves and who have, they want to play the game and they've been speakers, and so they're part of the org. They're also getting insane ratios of likes to views, but it tells you a lot about the information in the post and the price. The price action sometimes is going to represent it's a really good measurement of sentiment. It's a really good measurement of this information in this post. Did it click with people? And that's one of my top 3 tweets of all time, or top 4 now, was me saying I was wrong about PDI back when PDI was sitting closer to 3 cents, and I had capitulated my my criticism of it. So market dumping, what are we in a new trade war or something? I don't know if this is a dump. I'm seeing we're down 1%. Oh, down 3.7% for Bitcoin, down 5% for ETH. Whatever. Maybe it's sell the news before this crypto summit. Maybe it's a trade war. You can see, actually, I'm going to share this because this is the coolest thing that I'm using to understand the market right now. Then I probably have to get going, but this is good enough. Yeah, so the like ratio on this tweet from an hour ago about RH is slightly above 10%. That's nuts. Normally the ratio should be 2%. So that just kind of reinforces that concept that I want you guys to pay attention to, the like ratio. I'm gonna go to my here we go. Oh, this is good. Gonna go to my bookmarks here, and we're gonna bring up something from Zero Hedge. Okay, we're gonna do real quick. We're gonna do a like ratio on this Zero Hedge post that I'm about to share. So it has 8,600 likes divided by 1.1 million views. That is a like ratio of 0.7%, less than 1%. So the tweets that I just showed you have more than a 10x greater like to view ratio. And you know what that probably translates to over time, if you keep winning enough and you keep showing up in enough people's feeds, you know, maybe they want to join, and maybe now the algorithm pushes to them too. Ah, the government has said they're not going to buy your bags. Oh, wow. We didn't already know that? Come on. Come on, folks. Sometimes the news, it doesn't matter at all, and the markets are playing out just like they've always played out. So I can be the good news for you there, that you know you know then we'll find out later they were secretly buying it, right? Like, even if the government even if the government doesn't buy our bags, look, all they have to do is keep printing money. And that's the only thing that doesn't change no matter who's in charge and how much you drain the swamp, is like, you can't stop printing money because then the human Ponzi scheme falls apart. So I have great news for you, that if we don't get a stockpile, that's fine. I think a lot of Hexicans are going to be busy at the PLS 369 tour tomorrow night. But if any of you are not going to that, you might want to sit next to your computer and wait to see if Trump launches another meme coin. You know, whenever the last time he had like a crypto dinner where he had all these like important people put together was also a Friday night when he launched Trump coin. So um, hot tip. And you know, if you make 1,000x, you know, my donation address is open. You know, you can throw me like 1% or 1 ETH or something if you so desire. But there's your hot tip. That's why you guys keep watching Hex Therapy Live until 35 minutes in, is because Maddie's always out here trying to bless you with like some extreme alpha. So yeah, like, you know, also be careful of like, you know, scam launches and that sort of thing. But you know, why wouldn't you want to have a little bit of money? You know, if you're in the game of, you know, being early to something, why wouldn't you want to have a little money on, you know, on Binance Chain and Pulse Chain and Ethereum and Solana, just in case something pops off tomorrow during the crypto dinner like it did last time? Or maybe you're like me and you're just like living your life and you're super confident in RH and crypto, and you don't have to play around on other chains all the time. It's all good. Okay, beautiful. Zero hedge. Thanks. I've been looking for this chart for days, if not weeks. And this is a chart that shows some financial measure. um, I hate that they don't say what it is, but it's a chart that shows some financial indicator um, with a line graph showing the Trump tariffs in his first term versus the Trump tariffs in his second term, and the fit of the line is perfect, and we're already near the deepest dip in Trump tariffs 2.0 as Trump tariffs 1.0, and you know, then maybe we go down, you know, another 1 or 2% of whatever this chart is measuring, and you know, have another 2 or 3 weeks of like bottoming due to tariff action, and then it's not exactly up only, but it's only up compared to where it's been. If that makes sense. So I love it. Deja vu. I was already aware that like Trump had tariffs going on in his first presidency, and now they're going again in the second presidency. And I had always dreamed that someday someone would do all the work for me and figure out where we are in that cycle relative to last time. So this gives me confidence that even if Bitcoin, and risk on assets, like, crap out super hard, I'm already in position because I would rather suffer a little bit down and then go up only and experience the best part of the crypto cycle. So not financial advice, but hey, there you go. Danny Boy says 1,000x and he'll give 1 ETH donation. Love it. Or maybe he's just pointing out what I said. What if Trump confiscated the bank's bitcoins, like the government did with private holdings of gold in 1933? He could call it restitution for the 2008 bailouts. There you go, Bitfinesse. Interesting theory. Yeah, that's why I don't hold my crypto on exchanges, among other reasons. Richard Hart was right when he said institutions buying Bitcoin. Yeah, they're coming. They're coming to press the red button. Yeah. And I mean, when these ETFs, when BlackRock is buying and selling, those are retail customers who are using their platform to buy and sell. So it's not up, like, it's not only the institution that's making the decisions, they're just executing the trade. So there you go. So hang in there. This is Hex Therapy Live. We are trying to keep you, keep you mentally well and in the game. So remember to take care of yourself. Good news, if you are not able to go to the PLS 369 Pulse Chain Conference hosted by A Wild SJ, Black Hexagon, RG3, and crew, we're going to have an online conference coming up. And by we, I mean I'm putting it on for pulsechainconference.com. The 4th annual, if you could believe that. We did 2 Pulse Chain conferences before Pulse Chain launched, and now we have, now this will be our 2nd one that is occurring. We used to do the conference on the SAC-iversary of Pulse Chain, and now we do it every year on the launch anniversary. So that'll be the 2-year anniversary of when Pulse Chain has launched. And if we even go, if we go here, we can probably find the dates pretty easily because we click on the Pulse Chain Conf account on Twitter, and it says here that the 4th annual online event will occur from May 10th to 13th, 2025. So if you aren't getting a chance to make it to this in-person event, or if even if you are, everybody is included, everybody's invited to participate in this big online Pulse Chain conference coming up in just over 2 months. And I will put out the speaker invites for that in good time. Didn't want to kind of overlap that with the current thing that's being run by this other group that I adore. So we'll probably get that out to you as soon as next week. What do you guys think? So, yeah, Fast Abdul says his top post received 26,000 views. Something is different. Yep. Yeah, that's the badges and the sentiment. It's a force multiplier, if you will. And yeah, so my previous greatest most liked post had been, well, it had been like where I thought that Twitter was censoring a PulseX website, and then they fixed it. So that's like my most liked tweet of all time. And then my next most liked tweet of all time is saying I was wrong about PDI. But all of that has changed because the new winner is this Coinbase's leaked clues about listing Pulse Chain, the whole network. And so that's up to 1.6 thousand likes on 37,000 views. So you can see that the ratio kind of like, like I described before, the ratio drops off after the tweet has aged maybe 18 hours. Then it starts showing it to people who are less enthused or outside the network or something. So So what's the like to view ratio of that one? So 1600 divided by 37,000, that's 4.3, which you'll probably notice, like in these other ones, like this one that has oh, that's KDP's that has closer to 7 or 8% and is almost as old. So hers didn't get pushed to as many people. It got pushed to a third as many people, but her like to view ratio is almost 3x higher. So that helps you to understand this game. Oh, Frank White is watching live and says, Maddie, you and Abdul gave my Twitter a huge boost. Thank you guys. Hey, my pleasure, and right back at you. Thank you for taking the initiative. And nobody told you to do this, and there's nobody paying you to help out the entire community, and you went ahead and did it anyway, and we're grateful, and it's really happy to highlight people, and part of it I have to thank Fast Abdul, because he brought it to my attention. And so when you see somebody out there doing something good, if you guys want to let me know, I I want to highlight others, because that's how we win together. The reason why I became a leader in this community is because of my thesis when I started YouTubing. What I saw and the advice that I got from RG3 and Hexologists was cross-promoting is how we all win together. And that's how you rise up in this community. And so that's been my intent with every conference that I've done. Don't even count the 24-hour conferences, of which there have been many, the 48-hour conference and the 46-hour, but just the core, 5 different HEX conferences and 3 different Pulse Chain conferences online, and then one of each in person. The goal of all that has been cross-promoting others, so that we can all win. Yeah, so the ratio is like 10% there. And so I geek out on this, and I look at like what is the ratio and why. See this tweet where it was just simple, sweet. Make some noise if you agree Richard Hart is the best founder in crypto. Literally one line, doesn't take up very much space in the feed. That has a ratio of exactly 10% right now. And it's now over the 24-hour mark, I'm guessing, and but it only got pushed to 11,000 people. So that's where you see the big difference here between like the Coinbase news, and that's where you can see the effect of people retweeting and commenting more versus the simpler tweet that people, maybe that slapped for people that are in our ecosystem, but it didn't get pushed out to 3 times as many people because you all decided not to retweet that and to comment under it. And let me just point out as well that, like, remember the story from earlier in the show where we had the dedicated Hexican who retweeted 55,555 times, and then their account kind of got like shadow banned. So like the point of the game is not to like and retweet everything. And actually, when you can throw in a few organic posts of your own instead of only being a retweeter, that's probably going to make your retweets go a little bit further. And so also keeping your follower count down compared to the amount of followers you have is also something that the algorithm probably looks at. So we need to do more master classes in, mastering Twitter algorithm and like getting our voices out there. But what I can tell from here is like when you see a tweet that is important, that has something very useful in it that you want to share with others, that's going to make your retweeting more powerful. And so the 505 people who retweeted this, 506 now, about Coinbase, that is because it was a high quality post. And those people are not only just retweeting everything themselves, like they're not just retweeting garbage, and they're making meaningful comments there. And that's why it gets pushed to 37,000 people instead of 11,000 people. So that's really, so when you make a thoughtful comment, when you make some noise, that's getting the word out to a greater group of people. And if that message, if it's good news, more people are going to buy. More people are going to have the impressions that they need to hear about Hex and Pulse Chain 10 times and say, hey, that's a really cool community that's super positive these days. Like, I want to be a part of that. You know, Solana isn't being super positive right now, but Pulse Chain is. Cool, I'll check it out. There is a $50 super chat from Hex Wizard 369. Thank you so much. Hey, Maddie, with all the good things happening, what's your price prediction for Hex? I love this question. I think EHEX could blow people's minds, and I think PHEX could blow people's minds here. I think that those two plus PulseX are the ones that are primed with Hart's Law to pump the most, because you have to, especially for PHEX and PulseX, you have your trade, if you're buying with fresh money, has to get routed through Pulse, which has greater liquidity with Ethereum and the stablecoins, and then it's going to basically activate the automated market maker, X times Y equals K, force multiplier in the price. So like, because there's lower liquidity between new money and Hex and PulseX, even if there is equal buying of Pulse and PulseX and Hex, you're going to see all of them go up, but you might see PulseX and Hex go up more. And so, just looking at like the SAC money, or like even without the SAC money, just looking at, $150,000 Bitcoin and the gates falling down and the possibility of a centralized exchange listing, even for EHEX, that has a different risk profile to these centralized exchanges than the Pulse chain does. It's easier for them to support. It's easier for them to list. And now that the OA has time locked, maybe that 1 month time lock that's coming up, maybe that goes for a year or 4 years or something. And then, now you've checked another of the 3 boxes that the centralized exchanges want to see in order to list something and not have their reputation be at such high risk. So, crazy, huh? But in terms of dollar value, I could see, conservatively, I could see a 10x in both of those, just as things stand, without anything new happening. With OA buying, which we saw $1.5 million of on the SEC good news, I could see double that, especially because every dollar that the OA seems to spend in buying usually is matched with another dollar from other whales and people. And at some point, when the gates aren't being kept as much, you might see even a higher multiplier than that. You might see a 3 or 4x multiplier on every OA dollar spent. You have lower liquidity now, so the pumps are going to be better than last time when we saw Hex do like what it did between January and March of last year. The entire ecosystem went on a run of like 10 to 20x, with like Inc doing 20x and I think PulseX doing 15 or 10x and Pulse doing something like 10x, and I think Hex was similar. And that was with only about 10% of the SAC funds being deployed. So, I mean, yeah, you do the math, like when if all the SAC funds were deployed, now you're looking at like a 20x, like conservative, because we've seen this happen before. I'm I'm basing my predictions on how the system has already performed. Okay, so my ability to make an accurate prediction feels way better this year than it did last year, or the year before, or the year before that. So like, we have more information. So now let's add another like white swan or like gray duck, or whatever we want to call it. Like, just let's add something else that's like in the cards. A centralized exchange listing. What are the odds of that? 50%, less than 50%, greater than 50%? Okay, so now maybe that's part of the 2x multiplier that the sacrifice funds get compared to what they've gotten before. So before you had a 2x multiplier in sacrifice dollars spent, now you have a 4x. Okay, so now you compare that with the lower liquidity, which is giving you at least a 2x, maybe a 5x. There's 5x less liquidity, the price can move up and down at least 5x, if not in a function of a square, like 25x higher. So I guess I'd have to think about that a little bit more deeply. But the bottom line is, I mean, I could really see if I could see a 40x if we get an exchange listing before the end of the year, and if the sacrifice funds deploy in all their glory. I mean, that's not asking too much. Coinbase has said we want to list everything. So where does that put us? Where does that put us? See, and this being down 5% or 7%, that washes out. I made a big buy yesterday, after an hour or two after I posted about Coinbase, and like, this means nothing to me because there's not that many people who are able to buy at 7.5% less, and those are people who they can buy a little bit better than the price I got, but like, they missed the like, I'm not gonna do all this work to get the word out and to like try to get exchange listings and stuff, and then not be in when the exchange listing happens. Like, I don't want to play that game. So like, for me, for my mental health, like, I'd rather go down 20% in what I bought yesterday versus not being able to go up 40x, and missing one piece of good news, the price goes up 70%. All right, well, that just made up for a lot of the time that you spent, trading back and forth, and that's not my style. So, okay, so HEX is at a penny. So combined at 1.3. So, I mean, if we're already going up 40x before the end of the year, or if the 4-year cycle is broken, like within the next year, if the trade war breaks the 4-year cycle, game on. Like, it'll be a little bit left and right translated, if you ask me. But it's just, you turn on the money printer, the Fed lowers rates, and it's game on. Right now, inflation from the trade war is like threatening having an increase in interest rates, which takes money away from risk on assets. But if they let the stock market fail, then everybody's retirement fails, and like, I doubt that would happen. So it's in the best interest of everybody to like cut the fraud and waste, play hard with the trade war to like try to get good outcomes, and then, just like Trump did in the last cycle, in the last presidency, all of a sudden you're ready to go. Like, you resolve the trade issues overnight and boom, we're ready to go. The rest of the world is suffering from the trade problems more than we are, and so we're in a good negotiating spot. So in the medium term, it's going to work out, even if the short term is painful. If we're doing a 40x on top of 1 penny, that's getting us so close within a 2x of a new all-time high. I would not be surprised if we touched our previous all-time high, and I would not be surprised if we ran up to $1 even. And maybe that's combined HEX. Now that I'm thinking about it, is that maybe combined HEX touches $1 in the next, let's call it 2 years, but more likely within this year, but not much more likely. How do you like that? So thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the $50. I'm very proud of my answer that I gave you, that because it was backed up with a lot of facts. So guys, that's almost an hour. I was gonna make this a quick episode, but there's just too much good news and too many people keeping it real here in the chat and giving off the positive vibes. So can someone please share the OA address? There are thousands of OA addresses. So it's not possible to give you just one. But if you go and you search on Twitter for Gold Keys post, or you can search for my post where I reposted one of the OA addresses that is actually a sacrifice address that had bridged $14 million over. But unfortunately, Shaka Vibes, that's not going to give you new information for the future, because that account seems to have already spent all of its wrapped ETH. That's the account that bought $1.5 million recently. So maybe you ask Gold Key, or you ask somebody in like one of the trading telegrams that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But I appreciate the question. Oh, the one with the stakes. The stakes, you might be able to go to hexfire.io or ask Crispy on one of his streams when he's not like on the road, or maybe just on his website, there's a filter to filter out the OA addresses. I bet there's a tool on there. I just don't know if it's free or paid, but I'm guessing it might even be free, where you can just pull up 10 or 20 known OA staking addresses. And then DM me and let me know what you find, because I would love to know the exact date that the stakes are coming out and that sort of thing for the 1 month. Appreciate it, y'all. Thanks, Matt Phoenix. Thanks, Digital Money Marcus. Yeah. Good stuff. So go ahead and share this post about Richard's Twitter being clean and passing its woke labels test. Go back and listen to this whole stream if you haven't heard it all, because what are you doing? This is super alpha rich stream. Plus with the price prediction at the end, dang, you guys are lucky that you caught this one. I mean, I have been doing this for 223 weeks, but hey, I gotta say, sometimes when I'm traveling, sometimes even when I'm just on the grind, don't always get the best episode, but this one seems pretty good. So go ahead and like and share that. Write a thoughtful comment. Let me know what you think. Sharing the stream, also helps. But it's these high alpha posts that we are the news media now. We are the greatest force on crypto Twitter. We are the #1 chain in the world by volume that is not listed on a centralized exchange. and we're here to win the game, whether we get some volatility, in the crypto markets in the short term because of trade wars or not. Like we've already been through 99% down. We're still here, and now we're thriving more than ever. And so keep delaying gratification, keep taking care of yourself and others. And I really, really appreciate all you guys, more than I can say. So with that being said, until next time, stay wisely, my friends, and peace out.
It's from Maddie Allen of HEX Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being could do better than trying to heal his fellow man.
Maddie Allen's got that covered. Does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like he helps heal people.